Welcome back to our program tonight. Sandra has got our summaries in detail. Sandra.
Right, Daryl, and we are starting right here from Ghana, where the Bank of Ghana begins overhaul of microfinance and rural banks. And elsewhere on the international front, Qatar is pulling out of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Companies, OPEC, to focus on gas. You have the details coming up in our summaries tonight.
Even as public attention remains focused on the fate of Ghana's universal banking industry, with only a month left to the deadline for recapitalization to a minimum of 400 million Ghana cedis, the Bank of Ghana is now commencing with its plans to overhaul the country's microfinance and rural banking industries. Last Thursday, Parliament ratified an agreement for the World Bank to furnish government with a $30 million credit facility approved by the bank on September 30 to implement a financial sector development program which will run through to 2022, the core of which is aimed at improving regulation of the MFI and rural banking sectors and making them more accessible to the banking public at the grassroots level. The new funding will enable the BOG, in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, to implement and enforce an array of corporate governance, risk management, enhanced capitalization, and financial reporting measures which the central bank has drawn up but so far has not been implemented because of logistical challenges. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority has said that it is poised to meet its 2021 target for non-traditional exports pegged at $5.3 billion. Its CEO, Asabia Asare, said it's not going to be easy to double earnings in the next 2 years, but GEPA is putting in place interventions to meet the target within the set period, she stated. Speaking at the maiden Ghana-Slovenia Business Summit, Asabia Asare said the Slovenia investors coming on board will help expand the country's export margins. They are not here to help us. They are here because we were there. We are helping each other. We are looking at where we can mutually collaborate to work. We projected Ghana highly to them, and they are here to see what we have in Ghana, she added.
Our stories tonight. Head of the Economics Division at the Institute of Studies Social and Economic Research, ISE, Professor Peter Korte, says there's an imbalance in the regional distribution of the One District, One Factory initiative. So far, out of the 79 approved programs, only one is located in the Western region.
Government in the 2019 budget allocated 1 billion Ghana cedis to boost the industrialization agenda under the One District, One Factory program. So far, 79 factories under the project are set to be at various stages of completion throughout the country. Despite this, the Institute of Statistics, Social and Economic Research, ISE, said it has observed that only one out of the 79 approved projects is located in the Western region. Head of the Economic Division at ISE, Professor Peter Korte, is therefore calling on government to create a regional balance under the program.
It is worth mentioning that only one of the 79 approved projects is located in the Western region, where the upstream oil and gas activities are located, whereas there are 22 projects in Accra. I think those in the Western region are also demanding a fair balance. Ultimately, every district will get a factory, as the policy suggests. But we would like to encourage government to promote some level of regional balance. Moreover, going forward, we recommend that for districts that are close to or hosting the oil and gas activities, the projects under 1D1F should have some forward linkages with the upstream oil and gas sector.
He, however, lauded some interventions for the industrial sector in the 2019 budget.
Government's effort to address some of the challenges affecting the implementation of the local content law is laudable, particularly the establishment of the local content fund, which will be operationalized in 2019, will contribute to addressing the financial constraint affecting the sector. The 2019 budget statement also indicates a set of tax and non-tax measures to help revamp the textile industry, which almost collapsed due to unfair trade practices such as smuggling and counterfeiting. Some of the measures are extension of tax stamp policy for the textile sector, a zero-rate VAT on the supply of locally made textiles, implementation of a textile import management system, providing support and incentives to local manufacturers to improve their competitiveness.
Overall, Professor Korte describes the 2019 budget as ambitious and inspiring.
Energy Minister John Peter Mewu has disclosed that government has settled about 50% of the legacy debt it owed WAPCO as a result of the gas supply to the country for power generation. This has renewed the business relationship between Ghana and the West African gas supplier.
This is about the legacy debt, that was existing, as you are all aware, the indebtedness to VRA, and as a result of the ESLA, and then the bond that was raised, substantial amount of money was paid through that, and that's what exactly was saying. So more than 50% of the debt is being paid. Currently, what is left, I think, is in the range of about 2030. I'm not quite sure, but I'll let you have the exact. Yeah, yes, I think so. That's what more than 50 had been paid. Yeah, there's that amount that is left. I don't have the figure, but as you listen to him, he admitted that about 50% of the debt had already been cleared. Yeah.
Well, still on energy matters, leading oil marketing company GWEL is promising further reduction in fuel prices considering favorable dynamics on the international market. Alex Josiah Azil is Chief Operating Officer of GWEL.
The good thing about GWEL is that we have always said that we always set the benchmark for pricing. When prices are going up, we ensure that we don't overburden cherished consumers. When prices are coming down, we want to make sure that they get a benefit as well. We have an arrangement in place where, or we have a mechanism to determine how prices behave, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes a month into the window. So whilst others are just playing around and looking at what is happening on the international market, from as I sit, in 2 weeks' time, we know how the prices are going to behave. So we plan accordingly towards it. That is why sometimes when you hear in the industry that, prices are going down, everybody is waiting for oil, it is just because of the planning and the infrastructure that we have put into place. So, yes, we looked at the numbers and we realized that the prices on the world market was coming down. There's a little bit of stability also in the city, because it's also very important because the export price is determined by both the international price and then the stability of the city as well, the exchange rate. We count all the numbers and we realize that this is how far we can go down.
So you can't go further than that?
I can assure you that where we are, I wouldn't want to cite anybody, but if you scan the environment, you will realize that as quickly as Saturday in the morning, others had quickly come down. But we thought that where they were was not good enough. So we came down, and I'm sure this morning you will realize that all those who came down are going to further come down again to our level. That tells you that it is always, gold has become always a benchmark for the pricing. And we want to assure the general public that we know how they feel. We want to make profits, but we also want to make profits responsibly.
While away from energy matters, technological giant Huawei, in partnership with the Ministry of Communications, has created the Ghana Huawei Training Center to provide certification courses in information technology. Launching the center, Deputy Minister for Communication, Vincent Soa Odote, urged young people to take advantage of such opportunities.
Huawei Technologies has been in the field of certification services since 2001 in more than 160 countries around the world. The Huawei ICT Training Center in Certification in Accra will cover 11 technology areas such as security, unified communication, storage, servers, among others. Deputy Minister of Communication Vincent Soa Odote lauded Huawei for the technological revolution in Ghana, urging the youth to take advantage of such opportunities.
technology is the main driver of development now, and the skills that are required, the competencies to ensure that we are able to fully leverage the benefits of technology depends on the skills. The skills in the kind of programs that we intend to offer here could have come at a more important time in the digital life of this country, because as you are aware, the government is embarking on a full digitalization and formalization of the economy, and that is underpinning and driven by technology. So it is important that such training programs, such training institutes are properly established to equip our young people, our technicians, with the skills that are required to ensure that we are not left out in this technology revolution.
The first set of the 21 participants were selected from the various telcos and partner companies to Huawei. Subsequently, the training will be open to the general public, particularly students with a background in technology at no cost. October Chiu is Deputy Managing Director of Huawei Technologies Ghana.
Huawei aim to develop the ICT for Ghana, and the talent is very important for develop this ICT. So that's why we have this kind of we open this kind of ICT training center for training the talents. So today the first one will be the IP training. Okay. Today is just the first batch. We have 21 people. They're all from the industry, because the IP we don't. Why we select the 21 people, the first batch? Because the first batch we would like to invite some people who have the IT background first. So they're all from the MTN, Vodafone, and Airtel Tigo, also our channel partner like IPMC. So they all have some IP background, so yeah.
The first course, the HCNP program, will last for 12 days and will end on the 19th of December. For Joy Business, Karen Dodu.
Business Live will have more on our top story, projected increase in the price of food items this month. After this break, stay with us.
Welcome back to Business Live. To our big story tonight, agri-communication firm Isoko is projecting an increase in commodities for the month of December if measures are not put in place. November, however, saw a downward trend in food prices, a development which has been attributed to the harvesting going on in certain parts across the country. Let's take a look at the Ghana Commodity Index, and we'll be back for a discussion on that.
Tomato prices plunged by 20.53%, closing the month at 428 Ghana cedis per crate, followed by soya, which also dropped 9.93% to close at 255 Ghana cedis. Cowpea dropped 7.08% to close at 386 Ghana cedis, with local rice prices also falling by 4.94% to close at 349 Ghana cedis. Gari prices dropped by 2.41% to close at 173.71 pesos per bag, with imported rice going down by 1.14% to close the month at 374.80 Ghana cedis. Cassava and millet prices both dropped less than 1% to close at 60 Ghana cedis and 263 Ghana cedis 43 pesos respectively. While prices of most commodities dropped, some also appreciated in prices. Ponayam prices gained 11.85% to close at 487 Ghana cedis, with granite prices going up by 9.23% to close at 478.57 Ghana cedis. The average price for the bag of maize gained 4.87% to close the month at 144.71%. The highest price of 180 Ghana cedis was recorded in Kumasi, with the lowest price of 110 recorded at Boku and Tamale. Isoko is, however, projecting increase in commodities for December if measures are not put in place.
Okay, so in just a few weeks, we will be entering the festive season. However, how are you likely to buy most of your food items on the market for that feast, and where are you likely to get them for less and to save some cash? We've been joined by Francis, who is the manager, and let's do that again. Just sorry, but content manager. Sorry, content manager with Isoko Ghana. Thanks so much for your time. We've seen that November performed quite well. Prices were down, but you're projecting that December is going to go up. It's likely to go up. Why is it so?
Thank you. We realize that December is full of activities, especially the Christmas activities.
Right.
And so in most periods of the month, traders will want to cash in on the festive activities, and so we want to push commodity prices up a bit. But if you also look at especially some commodities, maize, you realize that in the month of November, which is still a harvesting period within some of the areas, the commodity is moving up, which is quite worrying, because if this trend continues, by the time the harvest is complete, prices are going to skyrocket, which needs to be checked.
So that's the reason why, you know, that a lot of harvesting is quite ongoing. But why is it that it has to do with maize, tomatoes, and for the festive season, you know that tomato is quite a hot commodity. So how is that going to play out?
So we always talk about maize because, I mean, about 90% of Ghanaians do take in maize, either at home or is used in the poultry industry. That is why maize is a commodity that always we talk about. Tomatoes is also something that is always within our meals. Either we take it raw or we...
And it's perishable as well.
Yes,
so
highly perishable. And so if you look at the production of tomatoes, you can produce a lot of tomatoes within a week. And if you don't have very good storage or you are not able to sell, by the end of the week, you have a lot of them going bad. So that also accounts for the price behavior of tomatoes. And around this period, it's likely that traders are going to increase because of, one, their inability to store, and also because what we have within the country, we may exhaust all, and then we may have to rely on traders bringing some in from our neighboring
Okay, Francis,
countries.
I've been looking at your index for quite some time now, and it's clear that mostly when prices are going down, you get it less in the northern part of Ghana. Is it because of transportation to Accra, or most of the food items are produced in the northern part of Ghana?
So there are commodities that are mainly produced within the northern part of the country. And when you look at the cost of living in the north, if you compare it down south here, they are always on the low side. And so prices of commodities generally at the north are always on the low side as compared to the ones that we have here. And because down south, a lot of commodities will have to be cut from the north here. And so adding transportation and all the other things that happens on the road, it gets here and then it becomes quite expensive.
Thank you. It's a pleasure having you as always on Business Live. So now you know where to get that food item for your festive season. But that's how we wrap up tonight on Business Live. Thanks so much for watching. I was doing this with Daryl Kwa. Do log on to myjawline.com/business for more business news. My name is Sandra Esenamapeno. Have a great evening.